Documents spilled across the surface. Old, yellowed, heavy with secrets. Bank statements, legal filings, court transcripts, evidence. He poured 2 glasses of bourbon and slid one toward me. "Drink," he said calmly. "You'll need it." I didn't argue. The burn steadied me. I reached for the nearest photograph and froze. A woman stared back at me. Beautiful, radiant, familiar, my breath caught. "Who is she?" I whispered. Desmond's voice softened just slightly. "That's Amanda," he said. "Your mother." My chest tightened. She was brilliant, a software engineer, heir to a telecommunications fortune. His eyes lingered on the photo. "And the love of my life," I swallowed hard. "We were building everything together," he continued. "A future, a family." His jaw flexed. "And then she died." The room felt colder. "A sudden aneurysm," he added quietly. "Just weeks after you were born." I stared at the photograph, at the life I never knew. "Then how did Darius get involved?" I asked. Desmond exhaled slowly. "Because back then Darius wasn't a pastor." His voice hardened. "He was a financial advisor. Charming, calculated, a predator hiding behind scripture." My fingers curled against the edge of the table. "He targeted wealthy families in grief," Desmond continued. "Positioned himself as a spiritual guide while quietly inserting himself into their finances." A pause. I was broken, vulnerable, and I trusted him. His gaze dropped to the documents. "That was the biggest mistake of my life." He pushed a stack of papers toward me. While I was arranging Amanda's funeral, Darius was forging signatures, creating shell companies, moving money offshore. I scanned the pages instinctively. Even through the age of the documents, the patterns were obvious. Fabricated transfers, layered accounts, manufactured trails. "He built a case against me," Desmond said. "A perfect one." My chest tightened. Before I understood what was happening, federal agents were at my door. "I was charged with fraud, embezzlement." His voice dropped. "The evidence was flawless." A beat. "I was sentenced to 10 years. Silence filled the penthouse. Heavy, unforgiving, I looked up. "What about me?" I asked. "How did I end up with him?" Desmond's expression turned to stone. "Because you were the prize." The words landed hard. "Amanda set up a trust fund for you," he said. $50 million. My stomach twisted. "But there was a flaw," he continued. "If I was absent or incapacitated control of your guardianship and the trust transferred to her financial advisor." A pause. "Darius," everything clicked. "He forged the final documents," Desmond said. "Made himself your legal guardian." My breath turned shallow. "He didn't adopt you out of kindness, Jasmine." His voice turned cold. "He adopted you because you were the key to the vault." The room tilted. Every memory I had, every insult, every moment I was made to feel like a burden, twisted into something monstrous. "He used your trust fund," Desmond continued, tapping a deed on the table, "to build everything." My eyes dropped to the papers. Property acquisitions, corporate shells, layered ownership structures. "The church," he said, "tap. The mansion, tap. Scarlet schools, Evelyn's lifestyle, every luxury, every asset." Another tap. "All of it funded by you." My chest felt hollow, like something had been ripped out. "They told me I was a burden," I whispered. Desmond didn't respond. He didn't need to. "They complained about feeding me," I said, my voice tightening. "About clothing me." My fingers clenched. "I was paying for everything." A long silence. "The only reason he kept you," Desmond said quietly, "was to maintain legal control until the trust could be fully absorbed into his assets." I looked up slowly. "And after that?" His gaze darkened. "You became a liability." The truth settled in, cold, final. "That's why they hated you," he added. "You were proof of what they did." I stared down at my hands resting on the table. They were steady now. No trembling, no hesitation. The tears that once came so easily were gone. The girl who begged for love, who worked herself to exhaustion for scraps of approval. She didn't exist anymore. She died on that marble floor. In her place, something else had taken root. I leaned back slowly, my mind moving differently now, faster, sharper. I was a risk manager. I evaluated structures for a living, found weaknesses, exploited vulnerabilities, collapsed entire portfolios with a single overlooked flaw. And Darius? He hadn't built an empire. He'd built a liability. A fraudulent structure balanced on stolen assets and buried crimes. Which meant it could be dismantled piece by piece. Desmond watched me carefully, measuring, waiting. "I rebuilt everything after I got out," he said quietly. "Every dollar, every connection." A pause. "I'm a billionaire now." I believed him. I can give you a new life, he continued. A new name, a clean slate, anywhere in the world. His voice softened slightly. You can walk away from all of this, heal. Forget them, for a moment I imagined it. Peace, silence, freedom. Then I saw Darius's face, heard the crack of that slap, felt the weight of 30 years of humiliation pressing down on my chest, and just like that, the image shattered. Desmond leaned forward, his voice lowering, or a dangerous calm settled over the room. We can destroy them. The word lingered, heavy, promising. His eyes locked onto mine. Do you want to run, Jasmine? A beat. Or do you want a fight? I picked up the forged deed to the megachurch, my fingers tracing the signature of the man who had stolen everything from me. My mother, my father, my life. Images flashed in my mind like rapid gunfire. Brandon's smug grin. Scarlett's laughter behind crystal glass. Evelyn's disgust over a rug. While I bled, something inside me sharpened. A slow smile crept across my face, not warm, not kind. Precise, lethal, I looked up at Desmond, feeling something new surge through my veins. Not pain, not fear, power. Run away? I asked quietly, letting out a hollow laugh. No, I leaned forward, my voice steady. I want everything. A beat. I want to strip them down to nothing. Every lie, every asset, every thread of their designer lives. My eyes locked onto his. Let's burn his empire to the ground. For the first time, Desmond smiled, not politely, not cautiously. Proudly, he poured the bourbon and raised his glass. To the ground, he said. We clinked. The sound was soft, but it echoed like a declaration of war. I spread the documents across the table, my mind already shifting gears. I evaluate distressed assets for a living, I said, tapping the church ledger. Every corrupt system leaves fractures. Desmond nodded. And financial predators always overreach, I continued. They get greedy, they over-leverage, and they always keep records they think no one will find. Exactly, he said, which is where I come in. He pulled out multiple files, thicker, newer, more dangerous. While you expose the internal rot, I collapse the structure from the outside. He pointed to a financial summary. Darius is drowning in debt, loans against the church, against the house, against future donations. Another file slid forward. Evelyn's spending, outrageous. Paris, Milan, monthly burn rates that would cripple most corporations. Then, Brandon, Desmond dropped the folder like it offended him. Your brother-in-law is worse. I flipped it open. My stomach turned. He's running a failing hedge fund, Desmond said coldly, covering losses with high-interest shadow loans. I looked up slowly. And those lenders, a thin smile. Mine. The realization hit like electricity. Over the next few weeks, Desmond continued, I will acquire every piece of debt tied to their lives. Mortgages, loans, investment leverage, all of it. And when I pull the trigger, they collapse. I exhaled slowly, controlled, focused. You squeeze them from the outside, I said, and you deliver the killing blow from the inside, he finished. I nodded. But I need access. Silence. I have to go back. Desmond's expression darkened. That means enduring them again. I know, you'll have to play weak. I know, they will try to break you again. I met his gaze. They can't. A beat. I survived them when I thought I was nothing, I said quietly. Now I know exactly who I am. Something fierce flickered in his eyes. I'll play the scapegoat, I continued. I'll apologize, I'll beg if I have to. A cold smile formed. They won't see me coming. Desmond walked to a hidden safe and returned with 2 items. A sleek silver USB, an untraceable phone. Plug this into Brandon's laptop or their network, he said. It will clone everything. Emails, accounts, deleted files. Once we have that, he added, we don't just destroy them. We expose them. We planned through the night, not emotionally, strategically, like generals. We mapped security blind spots, scheduled movements, psychological triggers, Evelyn's obsession with appearances, Darius's arrogance, Brandon's ego, every weakness cataloged. By sunrise, the trap was complete. I stood in the penthouse bathroom, staring at my reflection. Clean, composed, unrecognizable. I slipped back into the same black dress. Messy hair, tired eyes. I practiced the look. Broken, small, harmless, perfect, because beneath it, I was none of those things anymore. The car dropped me 2 blocks away. I walked the rest, cold air biting my skin. The mansion came into view, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't walking toward it as a victim. I was walking in as the beginning of the end. The storm had passed. Morning light stretched across the manicured lawns, each blade of grass glistening with fresh dew as if nothing had happened, as if the world hadn't shifted overnight. I walked up the long, sweeping driveway with steady steps. No hesitation, no fear, only purpose. I stopped in front of the towering oak doors and took one slow breath, centering myself. Then I knocked, soft, submissive, perfect. The door swung open almost instantly. Evelyn stood there in a silk robe, her expression twisting into immediate disgust as her eyes dragged over my appearance: damp dress, messy hair, hollow eyes. "Look what the stray cat dragged back," she sneered, stepping aside just enough to let me pass. I lowered my head, shoulders slumped, posture small, defeated. Exactly what she expected. Exactly what they all expected. The living room still carried the aftermath of the party. Half-empty champagne flutes, crumpled napkins, the stale scent of expensive perfume lingering in the air. Darius sat in his leather armchair like a king on his throne, a cup of black coffee resting in his hand. Scarlett lounged across the velvet sofa, scrolling lazily. Brandon stood near the fireplace, adjusting his reflection in the mirror. When Darius saw me, the room tightened. "You have a lot of nerve coming back here," he said coldly, setting his cup down with a sharp clink. "After the embarrassment you caused last night." I stepped forward slowly, letting my eyes gloss over. "I'm sorry, Father," I whispered, my voice trembling on cue. I was overwhelmed. I acted out of line. "Please forgive me." A harsh laugh escaped him. "Forgiveness isn't free." He leaned forward slightly. "If you want to stay under my roof, you will show repentance." A pause, then, "Get on your knees." Silence fell. Scarlett looked up, interest flickering across her face. Brandon turned fully now, arms crossed, entertained. Inside me, something burned, hot, violent. But I crushed it, buried it beneath discipline, beneath purpose. I thought of the truth, of the money, of the empire already cracking beneath their feet. Slowly, I lowered myself onto the marble floor, kneeling. In front of the man who stole everything from me. "I'm sorry," I repeated softly, staring at the polished tips of his shoes. "It won't happen again." Brandon scoffed. "Honestly, Darius, why bother?" he said, adjusting his cuffs. "You can't teach class to someone wired for the gutter." A few seconds passed. Then Evelyn entered, arms crossed. "If she wants to stay here like a parasite," she said sharply, "she can earn it." My fingers curled slightly against the floor. "I gave the staff the morning off," she continued. "You'll clean the entire lower level." A pause, then go to Scarlett and Brandon's wing. Her lips curled. "His office is a mess. Make it spotless." She glanced at me with thinly veiled contempt. "And don't touch anything important. You wouldn't understand it anyway." "Yes, ma'am," I said quietly. I rose slowly. Head down. Perfect. I moved through the mansion like a ghost, collecting glasses, clearing tables, wiping surfaces, listening, always listening. From the dining room, I caught fragments of conversation: Darius and Brandon discussing expansion, funding, influence. They spoke with confidence, with arrogance. They had no idea the woman cleaning their mess was already dismantling their world. An hour later, I reached the East Wing, Brandon's office. I stepped inside, closed the door, turned the lock, click, and just like that, the mask dropped. My shoulders straightened. My breathing steadied. The weakness vanished. I rolled my neck once, releasing the last trace of tension. I wasn't their servant. I wasn't their victim. I was Jasmine Harrington, and I was here to work. I slipped the silver USB from my pocket. First target the network.